Breaking news, from the demise of Putin to a cure for Alzheimer's disease, blind fortune teller Baba Vanga's predictions for the year 2024. Her 2023 forecasts of nuclear attacks and a devastating solar storm did not come to pass, so maybe we shouldn't take her forecasts too seriously. Some claim that blind psychic Baba Vanga can see into the future and has already foretold the death of Vladimir Putin and an Alzheimer's cure for the year 2024. Those who have faith in the Bulgarian clairvoyant's supernatural abilities claim that she was bestowed the ability to see into the future, despite the fact that she was born Vangelia Pandiva Gushtarova and was blinded as a kid due to a tornado. It was during World War II that she initially gained notoriety for her prophecies. Rumors have it that Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev and Bulgarian Tsar Boris III sought her advice personally. Since his death in 1996, Vanga has gained cult status among conspiracy theorists and those who believe in soothsaying. After passing away, the psychic left behind a book of predictions covering the years 5079 and beyond. Her followers claim that she predicted her own death, Princess Diana's death, and the 9/11 terror attacks. However, these prophecies are based on tales that were given to them after her death, making them impossible to verify, since she foretold the employment of nuclear weapons and a catastrophic solar storm for 2023. Her 7 predictions for 2024 are also unrealistic. According to his followers, Vanga has foretold that a fellow Russian will associate Russian leader Vladimir Putin by year's end, that there will be an uptick in terror acts, and that biological weapons will be tested. She predicts a plethora of terrible weather events and natural catastrophes in 2024. In addition to a massive economic crisis. Additionally, according to Vanga, sophisticated cyber criminals would target water treatment facilities and electricity grids, endangering the nation's security. However, there is some good news. The soothsayer has predicted that 2024 will see a tremendous advancement in quantum computing in addition to a cure for cancer and Alzheimer's disease. For those interested in what happens after 5079, the year she thinks the world will end, her forecasts stop short just hours after accusing Kiev of carrying out a deadly strike in one of its border cities. Russia began bombarding Ukraine's second-largest city with missiles and drones early on New Year's Eve. The Russian provincial capital of Belgorod was hit by indiscriminate Ukrainian missiles on Saturday, killing 22 people, including 2 children, according to Moscow, as air raid sirens sounded. Images of Belgorod surfaced on social media, showing destroyed buildings, black smoke rising from them, and cars on fire. According to local media, a commercial center, residential structures, and a skating rink were all struck by missiles in the middle of the city. The day before, Russian officials blamed Kiev for the attack, which occurred after an 18-hour aerial bombardment across Ukraine killed 39 civilians. Moscow unleashed its largest round of airstrikes since the war started, leaving over 144 people injured and an unknown number trapped under rubble. Ministers from the United Kingdom denounced the barbarity of Russian President Vladimir Putin within hours of the announcement that hundreds of defense missiles would be sent to Kiev, in response to Russia's largest aircraft bombardment of the conflict thus far, which killed at least 31 Ukrainians. Volodymyr Zelensky declared that Moscow will be held accountable for any attack on Ukrainian cities. The terrorist state will have a fair share of political and very practical responsibility for every Shahid drone and Russian missile, Mr. Zelensky stated on Saturday. According to him, Ukraine is gearing up to increase its military production in 2024. Russian missiles and drones bombarded the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv in the hours preceding New Year's Eve, according to Ukrainian officials. This came hours after Moscow accused Kiev of launching a lethal airstrike on neighboring Belgorod, just across the border. On Sunday, the Ukrainian National Police reported that 12 apartment buildings, 13 residences, and a daycare were struck by at least 6 missiles during the initial waves of Russian attacks on Kharkiv. The casualties were at least 22, and the damage was extensive. 2 boys, ages 14 and 16, as well as a security advisor for a group of German journalists, were among those injured in Kharkiv, according to Ukrainian officials earlier. According to the mayor of Kharkiv, the second-largest city in Ukraine, 3 waves of Russian drones struck residential structures in the center of the city near midnight, causing fires to break out. The bombardment of Ukraine also targeted Kyiv. "We are not terrified, we are unbreakable and unstoppable," Mayor Ihor Terekhov declared on the eve of the new year, despite the Russians' attempts to intimidate the city. Poland, a NATO member, asserted that an unidentified object penetrated its airspace for 24 miles during Russia's massive strike on Ukraine earlier this week. General Władysław Kukuła, the chief of the Polish military, stated that everything indicates that the missile was launched from Russia. Saturday, Andrzej Ordash, Russia's chargé d'affaires in Warsaw, told the Russian state news agency RIA Novosti that the charges made by Poland were unsubstantiated. According to Ordash, who spoke to RIA Novosti, these accusations are unsubstantiated, therefore until they have real evidence, they will not provide any explanations. Between Zamosk and the Ukrainian border, 500 Polish territorial defense soldiers searched for the object. INA First, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church celebrated Christmas on December 25 rather than January 7. The nation has long adhered to the Julian calendar, which is also followed by Russia. Next month, Christmas occurs on this calendar. As a means to further establish their cultural distance from Moscow, many Ukrainians have enthusiastically welcomed this year's development. Concerning news for Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, U.S. officials revealed on Wednesday that, barring the approval of fresh, blocked legislation by Congress, a funding package of up to $250 million could be the final deal. Artillery, anti-armor systems, ammunition, demolition tools, and medical supplies are all part of the weaponry, which has a combined value of up to $250 million. The Pentagon has stated that there is no longer any funding available to replace the weapons that have been removed from department supplies, according to Lieutenant Colonel Garin Garn. Another program that runs out of money is the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative. This program helps pay for future weapons contracts. Garn stated on Wednesday that the United States military's readiness would be compromised due to a lack of funds to restock supplies. The president is pleading with lawmakers to approve a $110 billion aid package to address national security concerns, including those of Israel and Ukraine. Thousands of British soldiers will be put on alert as a first response unit to protect NATO countries beginning next year. The Very High Readiness Joint Task Force, VJTF, is NATO's initial line of defense in the event of an attack. It was established in response to Russia's 2014 annexation of Crimea and gained further prominence during Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine last year. Germany will relinquish command of the response force to the United Kingdom on January 1, 2024. Members of NATO take turns in this capacity annually. This 6,000-person response unit will be led by the 7th Light Mechanized Brigade of the United Kingdom, well known as the Desert Rats. With money stalled on both the European and U.S. fronts, it's a dangerous time for Ukraine and President Volodymyr Zelensky. However, in 2024, how will the conflict be affected by the present lack of funding? According to Russian military analyst and British writer Keir Giles, this will likely force Ukraine to stay on the defensive as they build fortifications along Russia's key advance lines. As the year draws to a close, political leaders and troops in Ukraine are facing a number of challenges, including a lack of success on the battlefield, a general decline in morale, and uncertainty regarding the continuation of Western funding for the war effort. The Ukrainian assault on Belgorod, the capital of a Russian province, on Saturday resulted in the death of 14 persons. Many assumed the attack was a reaction to Moscow's massive onslaught the day prior. Damage to Belgorod after the onslaught by Ukrainian soldiers is shown in these photographs. Ukrainian forces attacked Belgorod, the regional capital of Russia, on Saturday, killing 14 people and damaging a number of buildings, including a skating rink in the city's landmark Cathedral Square, a retail mall, and residential areas, in retaliation for Russia's heavy shelling of Ukrainian cities the day before. Anonymous sources told the Ukrainian news agency RBC Ukraine that Ukrainian forces had fired on military targets in Belgorod, skating rink on the prominent Cathedral Square, a shopping center, and residential buildings were struck by missiles fired from a multiple rocket launcher in Ukraine's Kharkiv region, according to a source close to the Russian Investigative Committee, as published by the newspaper Kommersant. Forces from Ukraine launched a string of counterattacks against Russian territory, including missiles, drones, and shelling. The Ukrainian capital has yet to issue a statement, but Russian authorities have verified the deaths of 14 individuals, including 2 minors, in the border city of Belgorod, the electronic facility in the Bryansk region, which manufactures Russian military equipment such as long-range missiles and anti-aircraft systems.